Hey everybody. So I thought I would come on here today to discuss another topic. And this topic today is going to be about dysphoria and, everything that comes with it, some differences, some takeaways, and like how to deal with them. Like what my personal ones are and how they affect me day to day and things like that. And if you're new here, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm going to try to start doing more content frequently. So, yeah, just hit that like button and subscribe. So, dysphoria, I guess let's talk about what it is and maybe what people sometimes confuse it for. There's also gender dysphoria, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. And then there's also body dysmorphia, which a lot of people confuse gender dysphoria with body dysmorphia. They're very different, but they have very similar, you know, traits that show what they are. And for instance, body dysmorphia can be anything. It can be, you don't like your nose or you don't like your waistline or anything like that. And, trans people can have that. They can also have, you know, gender dysphoria on top of that. But generally, the two are completely separated. Cis people can have body dysmorphia, but they usually don't have gender dysphoria. If they do, they're probably trans. And they have some, thinking to do about that. So, with that being said, like body dysmorphia is basically anything that makes you feel uncomfortable in your body and makes you feel like you need to change it. And that's different from gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria is kind of the same thing in that there are things about your body that you don't like, but it's usually because it doesn't align with the gender that you perceive yourself. So, for me, for example, I have broad shoulders, and I feel like had I been born a female, I definitely would not have had broad shoulders, and they caused me to have some dysphoria because of that. And it's kind of debilitating to me. Somebody can have broad shoulders that's a cis female, and she can still walk around and just be uncomfortable when maybe she tries on shirts or something. But for me, when I walk around in public, I feel like if somebody were to look at my shoulders, they would look at the rest of me and say, that's that's not a born female. That's a transgender woman. Or that's a guy, whatever they may think or say. Now, realistically, would they actually and or would they care? Most likely not. But to me, it's like this irrational fear of somebody finding out and making me feel uncomfortable and making me feel unsafe or whatever it may be. And that's kind of like the debilitating side of, gender dysphoria. It's not necessarily about how they actually look because I don't think anybody would see my shoulders and care. But in my brain, like it's hard for me to get out of a car sometimes because I'm like, somebody's gonna see my shoulders or they're gonna see my trachea or something, and it's gonna cause them to notice, and it's pretty debilitating. And so next, I want to talk about maybe like triggers of things that cause that. And some people, it can be something as simple as trying on clothes. If I put on a medium shirt, which is the waistline that fits me, my shoulders are often too broad for them. And then I try on a large shirt, they fit my shoulders, but the waistline doesn't fit. And so, it kind of triggers me to think how uncomfortable I feel. Like I should have been, a girl, I should have girl proportions. And, it it's not really all the case because my body doesn't look weird or bad or anything. It's just the way your brain tells you that something's not right. And it kind of, for a better, for lack of better words, it kind of makes you feel like you want to just take your skin off and just be done with it. Just want to get away from your body. And at the end, I'll kind of discuss how to deal with some things like that. And I want to talk about maybe like how they affect me. So, like one of my triggers is intercourse, and that's a big one for me because I have pretty severe bottom dysphoria, where if I notice or feel like that's prevalent in my sex life, it kind of makes me feel a little disgusted in myself and makes me feel like I want to stop completely, like be done with it. And things can help with that. Um, like my partner is very open about me being a trans woman, and it makes me feel very comfortable. But at the same time, like I know that in my mind, like I should have just had the other part, and to feel comfortable in my body, like I will take that step one day. It's necessary for me to feel comfortable. The longer that I'm on hormones, the more aesthetically I match up. But then I feel like there's always something, left for me to deal with. And one day I will take that step. And that kind of comes into, how you deal with it. Some people, are as simple as like surgery. Surgery is an easy one, but expensive. Like if you have a bigger nose, and you feel like that's, for whatever reason, a masculine nose, you could very easily have a nose job. And would that alleviate your dysphoria? Possibly, but that's not always the case. What happens oftentimes with surgery is you fix one thing and then you see another, and it's like you're chasing your tail. I was told that a long time ago by a plastic surgeon, and I was like, that's a little realistic. Um, but like your trachea shave, like if you have that surgically corrected, it can alleviate a lot of dysphoria from your like side profile, where you feel like people are looking and or clocking your trachea, your Adam's apple, whatever. And obviously like breast augmentation, bottom surgery, like those are obviously necessary for a lot of trans people to feel comfortable in their body. But that's not always the case. There are some people who don't feel the need to do that, and power to them, because I wish I could just forget about it. And there's surgery, there's makeup. Makeup can actually alleviate a lot of dysphoria. For me, like I feel like I have a bigger nose, but whatever. So I tend to kind of pinch it with some makeup, and that tends to help, And I feel like the best thing to do as far as dysphoria goes is to just maybe learn to like appreciate your differences. It's something that I still struggle with, and there are days where I dislike my shoulders because they're broad, but then there's also days where I can tell myself like your shoulders are beautiful, like they're a reminder of who you are, and where you've come from and all the things you've had to deal with. I had to deal with 28 years of testosterone, and yet I'm here now, a tall, beautiful woman. And it definitely takes time to love yourself and to understand that everybody's different. There are plenty of women out there who have broad shoulders or no shoulders, and not every trans girl has broad shoulders and or small shoulders. Like we all vary, and it's what makes us unique and makes us beautiful. And it's something that I try to push myself and strive to like about myself. But that's probably the safest bet. It's just to, let time go on and look in the mirror and just say, like, I love my shoulders. Like, I think they're beautiful. You can't pay for these freckles. I'm quite thankful for those. So, yeah, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. Any questions, I'll gladly go over with you and cover in a future video. I'd love to do a big Q&A. If, I could tally up maybe like 10 or 20 questions. I'd love to answer them all in a video. So feel free to leave some below. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.